At first glance, one would think wrestling is one of the least culturally diverse sports there is. In the United States, the majority of wrestlers come from farm country in the Midwest. Even the best college teams are Iowa, Iowa State, Missouri, Nebraska, and Wisconsin, which all tend to be less culturally diverse than other parts of the United States. But I am here to dispel this myth. All sports are better with more diversity, and wrestling is no different. It has been growing in this area ever since Simon Roberts became the first African American to win an NCAA wrestling championship in 1957. In 2008, at the NCAA Wrestling Championships in St. Louis celebrated 50 years of African American success in the sport. They also created an exhibit that is on display at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum. Leroy Smith, the Hall of Fame director, said that the wrestling narrative dates back to the Emancipation Proclamation and runs the whole way through the Civil Rights Movement. This exhibit shows while African Americans were winning championships, they were helping to break down the racial barriers during that time. From the first NCAA champion in 1957 through today, diversity has become more prevalent in the sport, which has never been on display more than it was in the 2008 Olympics, where 5 of the 14 wrestlers came from culturally diverse backgrounds, headed by Olympic gold medalist Henry Cejudo, the child of 2 undocumented workers from Mexico. As wrestling in the United States continues to get more diverse every year, wrestling on the world stage continues to be one of the most diverse and important sports in the world. Wrestling helps provide a link between cultures that are on opposite ends of the spectrum. Wrestling is the oldest sport in the world. As collegesportsscholarships.com documents, wrestling goes back 15,000 years. They have documented this through cave drawings in France. Wrestling has always been a prominent sport in the Olympic Games. They have been recording the winners since 708 BC. Being such an old sport has created a unique situation. Internationally, in the sport of wrestling, the best countries in the world are Russia, Cuba, Iran, and the United States. Throughout the years, presidents of these nations have used the sport to bridge gaps between these countries. Politically, we are on different ends of the spectrum in many ways, but athletes have found some mutual respect and have even developed friendships between the athletes of these countries. Through these ties, governments have used these relationships to help understand the cultures better and work towards a better relationship between these countries and help keep the peace. I personally witnessed this at the World Wrestling Championships in New York City in 2003, when my eyes were opened at how passionate these countries were about not only their country but also their sport. As the week went on, you could see the respect building between these wrestlers and their fans of the different countries. These cultural differences and political backgrounds began to take a back seat to the respect that was gained through the competition. This common ground that was found between the athletes gave me hope that even though our countries come from such a culturally diverse background, that eventually we can find peace between these countries. In conclusion, I hope that I have dispelled the myth that the sport of wrestling is dominated by white males. Amateur wrestling as a whole has made huge strides in the United States at becoming more diverse in all races and backgrounds. But on the international scene, there may be no more important sport in the world as wrestling. The uniqueness of these relationships between the countries that our government are at most odds with creates a bridge that hopefully someday will lead to peace for all. Thank you.